Okay guys, and we are back. So I've flipped the scooter around and I'm just going to show you what it looks on the other side and the actual charging ports. So I've got my measuring tape and I'm going to measure exactly what the foot plate actually looks like in the actual dimensions. So in terms of the foot plate, you're looking at the usable foot plate. And we're looking at roughly 54, 55 centimeters, so 21 inches. And we're looking at the foot plate here, and we lock that on there. And we're looking at 6.5 inches or 16 to 17 centimeters in length. So quite a decent size. We're gonna move the meter out in this way. So yeah, so I've lifted it around and you can see the tension line for the brake, and you can adjust it if you would like. Mine was perfect at the thing. I've actually checked the pressures of the wheel and it's absolutely perfect. So out of the box, it's ready to ride. So on the side here, so you will notice there's no power adapter in the box, and all you get is a 3-pin Mickey Mouse head, a adapter. In Australia, we use 240 volts at 10 amps. So so what you do is, it's got a nice spring-loaded cover there, spring-loaded. I want to see how that holds up over time. The rubber stop on the original Ninebot ES2, ES4s. It's very well a bit finicky and sometimes they will break and you really get that feel. They have a nice waterproof seal, but this is nicely sealed. There's a rubber gasket there. You get a rubber gasket there, and this goes into the actual plugs. You will notice, so spring-loaded. I want to see how that holds up over time, especially when you're riding in the wet, but I'll do an updated riding on that one there, but we shall see how it holds up. You do notice 2 charging pins on there, so your standard Mickey Mouse charging pin. Please note that yeah, you don't get a power brick, it's just a cable. It's integrated into the base of the scooter itself, so that's fantastic. So all you really need is just to carry a lightweight cable, and you don't have to worry about losing a charger or your charger failing. If you do get a charger fail, which is very unlikely, you will have to open it up, and you can open up with the base head, like your standard screws, and you just unloosen that, and then you can access the battery and the BMS. It's got 2 ports there. There is a separate AC power adapter that you can buy, and you can charge both ports at the same time. So average charging of this is 6 hours, and with the newer generation 2, it's actually 6.5. So it does take longer to charge. So the charging curve is completely different on the newer model. And that's because we're using different battery cells. But yeah, it's interesting with the newer model, you are going on from 551 watt hours to 367, and it's taking longer. I think it's mainly to protect the batteries over time. But these things, man, when you get over like 1,000 chargers on these things, that's more than enough. Most people, when they get into scooters, they will buy one and they will upgrade in 1 or 2 years anyway. So yeah, so these things like last for years, and the only thing you really have to pay because to replace are the tires, but that's a different story altogether. In terms of maintenance, these things are really maintenance free. So charging port there. I think with the actual charger, which you buy separately, you bring the charging down to I think 3.5 hours. So pretty fantastic. So yeah, I have measured the charging. This charges at its maximum when it's empty at 140 volts. Here it's listed 120 volts, 140 watts. My mistake there, but it's listed here as 121 watts at 42 volts. So obviously you can see that, yeah, at 42 volts, yeah, that's a 10S. So yeah, so all your stickers on there, but yeah, and IP67. So yeah, so this is thing is pretty much waterproof, so you can ride in the rain, and riding on the rain is actually quite easy in this one. Most people who ride on scooters with hard tires, it does tend to slide. This holds up quite well as long as you're riding not maximum speed. If you're actually caught in the rain, you don't have to worry about it. So back wheel, they've actually gotten rid of the friction brake. Thank God. That friction brake on the original scooters was quite a scary thing to be riding on. But yeah, they've gotten rid of that. It's improved. It's nice and sturdy now. This hook here is to hook down the handlebar when you are locking it away. So you will see right next to the throttle here is this pin here, and that locks into this hook here when you're actually folding it over. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about the scooter. So that's a nice run through of exactly what you get with the scooter here. If you want to see what's in the box, please refer to my unboxing video. I will be making a ride video next, and I'll be talking about how it rides, how the tires hold up, the braking system, all the nice goodies, and I'll be going over the riding modes and how it compares to the original scooters. But as I said, this is probably this is the best bang for buck scooter in its price range. So if you're looking at a scooter for, you know, depending on what price you see it for, it does go on sale quite frequently, but you know, in the $800 to $1,000 category, nothing beats this scooter. And this one came out probably about a year ago now. And this, with all those companies and all those brands and the scooters, nothing has come close to matching this thing in terms of performance and features. So yeah, like the only thing I think this is really missing is suspension, but you do get around with the nice big tires. Besides that, yeah, if you're looking for a commuter scooter, get you from the AUV, comfortable ride, 65 kilometers is amazing in terms of the price point. The only thing that really goes further is probably the eMove Cruiser, which does like 100 kilometers on a single charge. But remember, that's priced at, in Australia, $2,300, so 3 times the actual price for that you're paying for this one. So I won't do the ride video in this today because there's a thunderstorm actually rolling in, and it's going to be storming quite here. But I will update the ride video, and I'll be talking about that one. And probably after that, I'll probably do a range test on this scooter here and see if we can hit that 65. I don't believe we will. We'll get close. But then again, I'm a taller and heavier rider. Also, yeah, I forgot to mention that the riding standard is a lot higher than your standard scooter, which is absolutely fantastic. Particularly in Australia, we tend to be a little bit taller than your Asian rider. Even though I'm Asian myself, but I grew up on an Australian diet with. Pretty much grew up on beef and carbs, so I'm a bit heavier and a bit taller than your average Asian, so it's absolutely fantastic. But in terms of the riding stand, it's suitable for anyone at 120 centimeters up to 2 meters. So so anyone in the range between 4 foot and 6 foot 5, 6 foot 6, this is going to be perfect for you. However, the riding limit is only 100 kilograms. I believe you can probably push that to probably 110, 120, but yeah, obviously if you're a heavy rider, you aren't going to get that rated 65 kilometer range, and you aren't going to be going at the maximum speed. I might make a video on how to unlock the V speed if you're curious, but remember, just be careful on your state territory rules and regulations. If you're riding at 25, yeah, I think that's a perfect speed in which you're riding, because you're going to get to your location at a reasonable speed. And if you happen to fall off or stack on the device, that's like you aren't going to injure yourself. You might get the grazes and bruises, and as long as you're wearing a helmet, you aren't going to injure yourself that much. In Australia, there's a lot of actual riding groups available. So if you're curious and if you're in a local area, please join your local riding group. The group rides are really fun, and yeah, it's pretty much like fantastic, and the community is growing really quickly. A lot of these serious riders who will ride the either the mid-tier or higher tier hyper scooters, they will ride in full gear and full face helmets. Personally, I recommend a full face helmet over a standard bicycle helmet. So either a motorbike helmet, or if you want something a bit lighter, like a motocross or a BMX riding helmet, but it's open up. It's a bit lighter and it doesn't impede your vision, but it also helps if you do fall off, you aren't getting those facial injuries that you will see in people who fall off and ride just your standard bicycle helmet. I've seen enough injuries, particularly to the face in the hospital, so please be careful. Yeah, and you don't want to be like drinking through a straw if you don't have to. Anyway, that's just my run through of the Ninebot Segway Max scooter. So to remember, this is the G30 model. So this is the generation 1. The generation 2 model is very similar in terms of what you get. The color scheme is slightly different. You will notice the generation 2 because it's a lighter. So this is a dark grey color. The generation 2 is a lighter grey color. It's a very similar color to the handlebars, and it is shorter by about 6 or 7 centimeters, and that's because it doesn't contain as many cells. So in this model you're getting 60 cells. In the generation 2 you're only getting 40 cells, and you've only got 40 kilometer range, which I don't think is a compromise, but it's very good. It is lighter by about 2 kilograms in the generation 2, but then again, 2 kilograms is nothing when the whole unit weighs like 19 kilograms. And as I said, anything under 20 kilograms I find is portable enough that you can still carry it up with one hand. You can carry it upstairs, you can slide it underneath your table, and you can put it in your vehicle if you need to. Anything above that requires 2 hands. I think that's more of a hyper scooter. But as I said, this is a commuter scooter. It's in the low to mid-tier range, and you won't find anything at the moment that will have the same features and the actual range for 800 Australian dollars. This is a bargain. So if you do see a better price, definitely to pick it up. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I will be updating those wide range tests as well, and I might make a video on how to unlock the scooter, and I might go through the app if I have time. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you are after the unboxing video, please refer to that one. I will make a playlist in terms of the scooter. Anyway, as always, like, comment and subscribe. Smash that notification bell if you want to see more. I do a lot of videos in terms of electric mobility. I'm really fascinated by electric vehicles, whether it's scooters, skateboards, it's EUCs. I'm more of a tech review channel, but I do a lot of random tech. So like you will see things, a lot of things to do with batteries, because I'm fascinated by the whole transition into electric vehicles. But yeah, and it's just fascinating to see, and particularly with the newer generation of riders, they're not too keen on buying like a car, because you know there's ride sharing, there's public transport, and if they can get a scooter or a skateboard or an EUC, they're more likely to use the devices, and it's interesting to see the regulations actually change over time. And it's going to get to a point which, particularly in my state in Australia, we're actually thinking about changing the actual regulations to allow these to be ridden on the road as well. So I'm watching that space very carefully, because these things are become so popular and they become the norm, and the local governments are realizing that they can make money off ride sharing in terms of infrastructure. They can save money on building like parking space and just having like dedicated like bike lanes for things like this. And when you think about it, these things are maintenance free. You don't have to pay for petrol, you don't have to pay for parking. In terms of charging this thing, you can get 65 kilometers, and it costs 8 to 9 cents to charge one of these things. And think how efficient that is. And if you're only like riding to the supermarket, or from the train station to work, or riding to your mate's place, and you can so my children can actually ride this thing, and it's quite safe, and I'm happy for them to actually ride these things, And yeah, it's a no-brainer, and it's absolutely fascinating, like to see where these things are heading to, and particularly the brand new generation. They're not interested in buying a car and getting their driver's license, which is going to be fascinating when things like companies like Tesla and BMW, Volkswagen, everyone's moving to self-driving vehicles. Wherever that happens or not, it will be fascinating to actually see. But there might be an entire generation after us which won't be able to drive vehicles. Cars will drive themselves, and you got these things, and because I'm actually running these off solar power, so I'm charging these through a solar panel. Yeah, these things are costing me zero to actually charge, and even if you're running off your power plant, 8, 9, 10 cents to actually charge these things. Peanuts. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm rambling on. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video. So, rounding Geek out. Cheers, guys.